What's going on, people? Welcome to the match preview show, and it is finally here. Palace versus Aston Villa, FA Cup semi-final, Wembley trip on Saturday. Lou and I will be going. T and Pat will be watching it from home. But it's the one that we've been looking forward to, the one that we've been singing about for the past month and a half. And here it is. Here it is upon us in about 2 days' time. So we're going to be going through the game, as well as we thought we might as well do it live today so we can answer some questions, get the viewers interacting as well. But even if you're watching on replay, if you do enjoy the content, please hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It helps us out massively. Thank you to everyone who's given the support for the player ratings. Shout out to Pat and Lou for that. Great insight into the game, as well as the match reaction. So if you still want to go off the Arsenal content before this one, feel free. It's still there. But our focus, just like Palace's, is straight away on Wembley because we haven't got much time till the game. Gents, I'm going to start off with actually Patrick for this one, because you've been the longest Palace fan here. You've seen Palace at the lows as well as the highs. You've seen the FA Cup runs. But for you, this semi-final weekend against Aston Villa, how important is it for you in terms of your Palace history, in terms of supporting it? Because the biggest factor right now, from my perspective, is Oliver Glasner, which we haven't had before.
It's the biggest for me. First time I remember was 76. We played Southampton, right? And they end up winning the cup, which is mad because they were not a Division 1 team at the time. And then 14 years later, 1990, I was in America by that time. Played Man United. We had the epic semi-final. And I had a feeling that year we were going to win it because we beat Liverpool in that crazy 4-3 match. But Ian Wright gets the 2 goals, but Nigel Mann kicks the ball out. They counter-attack and they score. Mark Hughes gets 2 goals, and we lose the replay in a terrible 1-0 game. 2016. 2016. Actually, 95 actually interesting. 95 we got to 2 semi-finals. We lost Ian Dowie and those guys, but we lost to United again. Here's the thing.
Yeah, we boycotted the second leg of the replay as well, didn't we?
Right, exactly.
We had no fans at the replay.
Yeah, the key thing has been Man United has been the bane of my existence for at least 3 of those FA Cups, either finals or semi-finals. So now we're here at a semi-final against a team that, we've beaten so far, but I'm very nervous about this game, very nervous about the game now. It's getting closer. The good thing is nobody's backing us, which is interesting. None of the pundits really think we can win. I don't really care about that, really. But I'm incredibly nervous. It's the biggest game for me in our history because, again, it feels as though we have a good chance to win the cup. I'm not putting down Villa, and I think the final would be epically stressful between Forest or City. But as far as where we stand historically, I think this is a massive, massive opportunity for Palace to win, which will be the first ever major trophy. So that's where we are.
Yeah, it feels crazy. Only 2 games away from potentially lifting a trophy, and for the players and the managers going in the history book. But also after Saturday, for a lot of people, the season could potentially be over as well. I know we haven't got long left, but yeah, it is a big one. I've been happy, man. I've been happy today. I've been excited. I spoke to a few people about the game. I've done opposition preview, which is dropping tomorrow, which is very good actually from a Villa perspective on the game, and in terms of how Emery approaches certain games, and also Emery versus Glasner. It was nice to get Luke's thoughts on that from the UTV fan channel, so check that out tomorrow at around 5 p.m. But for you, Lou, in terms of this game, how much are you thinking about what's happened against Aston Villa in the league as well as the League Cup going into this one? Does that give you confidence?
Yes and no, because as a fan, you end up thinking about the law of averages. If you're always beating them, there's going to be a time where they beat you. I think it's a one-off game. I can't really put into words how much it would mean to me if Palace won an FA Cup. Like I said, my dad would die a happy man. I'd probably die a happy man. So yeah, it's a lot. It's annoying that a game of football means so much. It's quite stressful.
Yeah, I think it's because of all the struggles that we've gone through as a football club. That's why it means a lot more than, let's say, like a Man United. I mean, when Man United beat us in the final in 2016, it was just like a day out. It's like, oh, we've won the FA Cup, we move on, because of course they've seen trophies in their lifetime. Whereas for Palace, and I think for Villa as well, who apparently haven't won the FA Cup since the 50s, which is kind of crazy. It will mean a lot. So, you know, there's, apart from Man City, which is the only team that's left that's kind of been spoiled for trophies, I think for Palace and Villa, this is a massive.
But I would say all three of those teams, if we supported them off, my dad Pat would have seen them win a European trophy. Forest arguably have one of the greatest. It's up there with probably what Leicester done when they went from Division 2 to win the European Cup back to back. Villa won it in '82 against Bayern Munich. '82 is not that long ago.
Right.
So they've seen glory days. They won the League Cup, I think it was in '95. Villa did. Obviously, City have won everything, but yeah,
We're the anomaly.
The only thing is, when we played Man United that year, I don't think our team was. We were very bad in the league. We were very bad in the league, but our cup form was dragging us through. This one feels different. But football's a cruel game. You can think the stars are aligned for you, and sometimes it just doesn't fall how you want it to.
Well, it can go both ways, T. I don't know about you, but I mean, we're going into this game off a positive performance against Arsenal, a result that I think a lot of fans are happy with. In fact, that we could have got more out of the Champions League semi-finalists, so away from home. So it's like in the last two games, after the shock of the City and Newcastle game, which was just a bad week in my opinion, and we've kind of proven that we're still a good team. We're going into this game with a bit more confidence. But for you, how big is this one for you as a Palace fan? Because of course you support Palace different time frames to what we have.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the biggest since I've been a fan, and I think it's awesome that we all get to experience this together, and hopefully can see us get a victory and move on. You know, it's just one of those things where 2 matches, you know, but of course taking it one by one, but to realize how close you are, you just hope that as a fan they put everything into it and they can give it all they got. I mean, that's all you can really ask, and hopefully when it's all said and done, you know, things work out in our favor.
Yeah. It's the only thing that I'm slightly not concerned about, because I think we'll manage it properly. If there was one manager to manage, I think it'll be Oliver Glasner. We saw it with rotation, but maybe like fatigue. They've had an extra day rest than us. I don't think that is fair. I don't know why they didn't move the Arsenal game, to match it with the Villa one. But that could maybe be the only concern. But look, for me, if there's one manager that can win it, it is Oliver Glasner. He's kind of shown it this season. He's able to adapt to certain managers and to certain styles. We've been very good away from home, apart from those 2 games that I've mentioned already. So, you know, if it is, then I truly believe that it can be now under this manager. Whereas previously, as we've mentioned, some of the results going into those cup semi-finals or even finals, it wasn't like a great run. But of course, the cup is different. But this time, apart from those 2, I think we've been in a very good run in the last few months. So we're going with a bit of momentum against Aston Villa side, who also, you know, one of the most informed teams in Europe. Patrick, about Aston Villa, before we get into Palace, when you look at the squad depth and the team, we have to respect them. We can't go into this game with the mentality that we've already beaten them twice. I think we have to try to find the balance between, you know, yes, we can beat them, but also don't be complacent that you've beaten them twice, that it's going to be an easy game, because they've got a great coach under Unai Emery.
Yeah, they've got a great coach. They've got tremendous squad depth. I mean, goalkeeper, one of the best in the world. You've got attacking 3 of Rashford. Whatever they do, Rashford, Ramsey, Rodgers. You've got Daniel Martin. Marlon. You've got
Bailey,
Benzio. You've got Bailey, who might not even play. I mean, midfield. You got Onana. You've got
Tielemans,
and the Kamara. I mean,
Ramsey.
McGinn. I mean, the rest thing is an issue, but it wouldn't have been it's going to be an issue anyway, because they've got 2 for every position, and we don't have that. So that was always going to be an advantage to them anyway. That extra day was always an advantage to them. I think the main thing you mentioned are the managers. I do think that Glasner has Emery's number, but Emery's an excellent manager. He's a very good cup manager, and he's the kind of manager that will figure out eventually. Louis mentioned before, eventually those numbers do balance out. But as far as Villa's squad, they have an excellent squad. They got a lot of depth. I'm worried about it. I hope that he overthinks it the way Pep has done in the past and maybe goes to a back three again, or a back five, whatever you want to call it, and messes around, because if he does that, it'll fall right into Glasgow's hands. But it's going to be a difficult game either way. But as far as their squad goes, they have a very good squad, and they will be sending wave after wave of midfielders at us and forwards at us at every point in that match. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I don't think they will change the system. I think they've kind of got that out of the way based on what happened at Selhurst. From what I've gathered from the opposition preview, which of course, check that out tomorrow. There's a lot of detail that goes into that video, and we speak about Aston Villa's strengths and weaknesses. Is that they're playing a particular way at home versus away from home, and that method has been working ever since we actually beat them 4-1. That's when they kind of got that reality check and went back into form. We kind of helped them from there onwards after beating them 4-1. And we've kind of seen it similar with the Newcastle game, for example. I know we didn't go and beat Bournemouth straight after, but we could see 5 goals to now limiting chances against Bournemouth with 10 players on the pitch. Like we kind of got our confidence back and realized and had our reset just like they did after we beat them 4-1. But for you, Lou, is it a bit difficult, do you reckon, Glasner's job when you look at some of the squad depth that they have? Because they can go different ways. They can start with Watkins or Rashford, for example. They don't even know themselves, the Villa fans.
Yeah, definitely. But they can only make 5 subs, same way we can only make 5 subs. So however deep their squad is, I think you can be as tactical as you want. You can think that you're set up the perfect way, but these games, they take something else inside of a player. I think it takes something special. Glasner's got to make sure that their occasion doesn't overcome them. This Villa side was just played at PSG away in a Champions League quarterfinal. That's as hostile as it gets. But they were the underdogs in that game. No one expected them to get anything. Now it's like the roles reversed. They're the ones that everyone expects to go through. Their fans expect, after getting knocked out of the Champions League, that they should go for the FA Cup and they should win it. So we've got to play on that. Man, it's gonna be a very, very, very tense game. It's gonna be extremely tense.
I think it'll be like
it might come down to desire. It might come down to who's willing to run that extra yard, who's willing to sprint. It's going to be a game like that, I think. It could go in and it could be like different, but to me, it's going to be something special or a mistake.
Now we have to make sure, T, that we don't get ahead of ourselves. Like, we understand the occasion. Don't get too caught up in it as well. I think that's the balance. Like, you want to enjoy it, but if you get too caught up in it, you can easily make a mistake here and there. And I think we've got the right manager anyways in terms of Oliver Glasner. But do you think Aston Villa's style of play suits us in a way, in terms of opposition and what you've seen from them so far and how we play?
I think their default style of play really suits us. I mean, and when I say default, going into not the last time we played them, but the time before that, we were talking about the system that they run and, the 4-2-3-1 and how Emery really sticks to it. He doesn't make many changes to what he likes to do with his setup and his tactics. And if they go back to playing that exact way, I think it really plays into our hands. Also, if they decide to play the way that they did in the last match, where they tried to match us by going 3 at the back, I think it plays into our hands. I think the wild card here is that other thing that they could do, which we don't necessarily know what it is at this point. We talk about the fact that Unai Emery is an accomplished manager in world football. He's played in big time matches. He's won trophies. He's extremely seasoned. So I think after having multiple run-ins with Glasner to this point and multiple unsuccessful ones, I think that he'll probably be laser focused on even the smallest tactical changes that can make a huge difference for his squad, and for them getting that chance to just, find that early goal, or to get us in a situation where our backs are against the wall a little bit. So I'm very interested to see what that change is. I would actually be surprised if he sticks to what we've seen prior to now.
Quickly, I'm just saying, with their squad depth, do you think in a game like this sometimes it can be a detriment because you've got so many good players? Everyone's going to be like, you still have to make a decision. They've got so many options. How do they know what the right? We know Palace are going into Saturday knowing who's, I'd say, bar one or two players at maximum. We know what the lineup's going to be, don't we? The players know from now who's playing. They know exactly what's going to happen. Do you think Emery knows exactly who he's going to play already? Because there's so many.
And I don't think he does. And I think that plays a big role for them too, because I think, one of the luxuries of having a team like that and being able to go too deep at every position is being able to have quality players all over the pitch in multiple facets. But the problem that creates is, like you said, it's a wealth of options. And then the other thing that really comes into it, which I think could end up being maybe the bigger decision maker, is the chemistry between players. You want to have good chemistry between the guys that are on the pitch and how they complement one another. So if I was Emery, I would think that he's probably going to be picking his side, especially for this game where it's a must win to move on. I feel like chemistry plays a huge role in complementing players on the pitch.
What do you think?
So for me, I think the only issue he has is, do I play Rashford or Watkins? And that's the biggest decision he has. Everything after that doesn't matter, because I'm looking at the PSG game. He brought on Asensio for McGinn. He brought on Ramsey for Onana, Watkins for Rashford, Maatsen for Digne, and Barkley for Tielemans. They have.
Is this the home leg?
This was the home leg when they lost 3-2. The 1-3-2.
They talk about they'd have the home and away team, because I don't.
Yes, I was going to actually get into that.
But what would they? Would they be playing their home team? Or are they going to be playing their away team?
So it's not even about the home team versus away team. It's about the style of football. Apparently, away from home, they're a bit more compact and they allow the teams to have the ball a bit more. So he's changed that system. Whereas at home, they're full guns blazing. I'm worried about. That's the only tactical thing that I'm worried about. If they approach the game like an away game, we've kind of seen it. Like, we prefer to have spacing behind.
They won't.
Not Wembley. But then that's the thing. The home thing hasn't worked against us. Like the high pressing and leaving spacing behind, because that's how we've actually created chances. So what if in this game they actually change it and approach it a bit more negatively in terms of what they're normally used to try and limit the spaces, because that's where we tend to struggle.
So what was their lineup against City? It was Rashford. I think Watkins starts. I think Watkins starts Saturday.
Apparently, it's more likely Rashford to start because of the fact that Rashford started the big games.
Right.
So but Rashford played midweek.
Yeah. Well, he played Tuesday, though.
Against City, they started Digne, Cash with the fullbacks, Torres and Konsa. He won't start.
He won't start Torres.
Yeah. Won't he?
He will over Mings, don't you think?
Yeah, that's their best centre back now. It's Konsa and Torres. But the thing is, they're very wary of Sarr against Torres. They don't like that matchup.
Right.
So was Mings hurt the last time we played them?
No, he might have been. But he played against Newcastle. He played the Newcastle game. They won 4-1. He was a centre back in that game. So my point is, he might go back to him, because again they've been rotating a little bit. Onana, Kamara were the DMs. The attacking three were Ramsey, Tielemans, and Rodgers, and then Rashford behind him, in front of him. Sorry, I just don't see a match in which they don't play McGinn. I hope he doesn't play, but for me, McGinn's going to start in that game. So
I think Tielemans isn't great in a 10. Tielemans is if really and truly
more of an 8 for sure.
The one person I don't want to see in the centre is Morgan Rodgers.
I agree.
They've been playing on the ball, running with the ball can be a problem.
They've been playing him wide right.
Yeah, which is fine with me.
He hasn't looked comfortable there. He doesn't enjoy.
Have they played him through the center a lot though?
No, they haven't been playing him. Because he's so good and effective on the ball. He's just all around a very good player. You can kind of just fit him in.
Yeah.
Mm.
For us though, if we keep the shape like we did against Arsenal in terms of limiting the opportunities and having everyone behind the ball, I think that's where you kind of stop Morgan Rogers doing what he does best. Because if you give space in behind for Rogers to run into, I think that's where the problem lies. And against Arsenal, we've done a very good job tactically in terms of having even at times there'll be Mitchell and Munoz who's actually pressuring the midfielders, the extra midfielders that Arsenal try to put in there rather than the wide players. And then you have Gahey, he was shifting towards to mark, I don't know, he was on the other side, on the right-hand side. It was Sterling. So you would have like combinations. I think that was an interesting tactical switch from Glasner because normally you would have Munoz and Mitchell who press the wide plays of the opposition. Whereas in the Arsenal game, I noticed a few times where Mitchell was pressing the midfielder and Munoz was pressing midfielder. So it kind of gave a different type of approach. And I wonder if they're going to pick up on it as well in this game because I haven't really seen that much from us in terms of our pressing.
They love that. They love that straight pass from Martinez through the thirds. They're quite direct, but they don't really play over the top. It's direct on the floor. I think there'll have to be times where we have to like play through waves of attacks and just try and get our moments because the biggest thing of the last semi-final was we just didn't have any chances, and you've got to stay in the game. You can't let the game run away from you.
The last semi-final, I think the problem was that Vieira just got the tactical setup wrong.
Yeah.
System, and you had like Joel Wood playing wing back, and you're overthought it. So in this game, I don't think we're going to have those same problems. It's just about being patient, and let's just see how they set up. Because if they try to be a bit more negative than they usually are, let's see how we react to that. And that's why I'm thinking it's going to be like a tactical battle because we don't know how they're going to really approach it. They can approach it both ways: how they play at home, which is a way more attacking, which we saw against Newcastle. And there might be spacing behind, or away from home, which there can be a bit more, sitting back rather than the usual high line, which is what the Villa fan said anyway. So that'd be interesting. Now, let's move on.
What did he say he thinks they'll set up like?
He doesn't know. He wants it to be like the home game. To be fair, that's what he said, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know about it. But in terms of Palace now, lineup, what do we do? I think the defense is pretty much clear. And the goalie, I think Hendo starts. And then we got Chris Richards, Lacroix, Gahey, right wing back Munoz, left wing back Mitchell. You can stop me if you disagree, if you think Ben Chilwell should start, but I don't think anyone's going to be saying that right now. Exactly.
It's just
midfield
too.
That's where we land. And it gets interesting because I think Wharton starts. But if you remember in the last game, McGinn ran around Will Hughes. It was a problem until Lerma actually went in midfield. And normally I don't remember like small specifics like that, but it was actually a big problem that I still remember it till this day. So what do we do? And what does Glasner do in this game? I'll open up to whoever wants to jump in first. Do you go with Lerma, who gives physicality, or Will Hughes, who's maybe a bit better on the ball?
I just don't understand again how good he is at shielding the ball. Like he just literally he does it to so many players, not just Hughes. Every time I watch him, he just sticks his bum out and he rolls people either way. But it's so tough. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I think
Pat, what do you think?
I'm looking at the lineup for the 2-2 draw. And I had forgotten that it was Hughes and Decore started in that game.
And Devaney. And we played with two up top.
Scored the goal. Right. But my thing is, I just realized that he actually had a very good game in that game. Hughes. Passing was decent. Won a lot of duels, aerial duels especially. Won a lot of tackles, had the most tackles in the match. Played well in that game. So for me, it has to be Hughes. As much as I'd like to have Lerma. I was mentioning that during the play rating. I think Lerma's become underratedly the most important player this season because of his versatility, but he also has played a lot of matches, doesn't get a rest, and I think he'd be great to come in 65, 70 minutes if he was on a yellow card and kind of harry, hopefully Villa's down a goal or two and harry their midfield. Ball retention-wise, Hughes and Wharton are much better than Wharton and Lerma would be. Kamada, as well as he played yesterday, I don't think he'd play in this game. Technically, I think he's got the ability, obviously, but I just think that if Hughes is fit, I think Glasner feels more comfortable with a Hughes-Wharton double pivot. I think Wharton gets the best out of Hughes and vice versa. So for me, again, if he's got somebody else, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I mentioned that before. Again, I'm shocked at how many options we have now in that centre midfield position, Wharton plus whomever. But I really think, for me, it's Hughes. Even though he didn't play well last game, he'll be up for a McGinn battle big time. He'll be up for it. And he's got the experience too, so I'd go with him.
Yeah, I quickly seeing people in the chat talking about playing Lerma over Richards. I think people forget too quickly what Richards was doing. That performance against Fulham, that performance against Fulham in the quarterfinals was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Richards being, for me, that's not even up for debate. Like you just play
quick to forget all of the clean sheets that we've gotten with that man being at the back,
and his threat and his aerial threat.
Aerial threat. It was great. Can you remember the goal against the goal that Saar scored?
Shoot,
set piece of Richards is fantastic, but Lerma's very good in the air. But in set pieces, I don't know. Richards just stands out for me. Like he's been,
and it's not even to pit them against each other. Not to say that not to say that Lerma wasn't playing well, because he did play well for us. He actually had a beautiful ball over the top. That ball to Eze over the top. When I replayed that, I was like, wow. Jefferson Lerma made that pass
after shanking that first one.
After shanking the first one, yeah. But it's just one of those things, man. We're talking about continuity, and we're talking about our back three and defensive solidity and continuity, and the threat that we have on set pieces. I think you play Richards, man. I don't see why.
I think Richard comes in. He's had his rest as well,
and it's not like he can't train. It's not like he's not in form or can't train or anything or hasn't been playing. He just had to sit out that match. But
let's quickly go around to the midfielder so I get everyone's answers. Cool. If I have one, then just say it, because for me it's hard as well to pick. Walton and who starts in midfield? I'll go with you, Pat, then Lou, then T.
Warren and Hughes for me.
Warren, Hughes, Lou?
Yeah. Warren and Hughes just for ball retention for the first 50, 60, 70 minutes. We can't have too many high turnovers. And when the game's stretched, you'll need more legs.
Yeah, it's got to be Warren and Hughes.
Yeah. For me, I'll be honest, I would have started maybe Walton and Lerma based on what I've seen. However, Lerma's played enough games recently. So I think Hughes coming off the bench around, what was it, 60th minute mark as well? Was it 60th minute? Yes,
it's all game relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's kind of pre-planned. I think Hughes is going to start. But the good thing is, if Lerma's coming off the bench like he did last time around against Villa, you can see that he still has an impact. Like he can have an impact. So it's not like the worst case scenario. I think Hughes offers a bit more on the ball, whereas Lerma, if you press him, you might see more balls playing backwards. I haven't got the stats out for this, but from the eye test, like he's not as comfortable in the midfield too as he is maybe playing in defense, because when you're playing in defense, all you have to do is majority of the time pass forward or pass it to Henderson, so it's a bit easier. Whereas in the midfield too, I think they'll target him at the start of the game. Whereas if the game's going on and players are a bit tired, I think that's when you can put on Lerma, because he's not at 100% right now anyways, in terms of, he's playing a lot of games. The only player that I'm comfortable with is Munoz. Like, this guy can run for days and 180 minutes and he still won't be tired by the looks of it. So Lerma, I think, coming off the bench in this game could be the good idea. The front three, it was good as they scored a goal. Mateta got the goal, and Saar, Patrick, coming off the bench had a positive impact. How are you thinking about this front three in comparison to the Villa's defense?
They've had success against them in different forms. As they scored in the cup game, Saar scored in the league game, Mateta scored in the league game. So they've all had their successes. I mentioned to Lou, I didn't realize yesterday, watching back, that Saar was very good on the left side. To give you another option there going forward as far as him playing left as opposed to right. But Saar, Mateta, and Eze, 100% the default starting three. Allows you to put pressure on their defense with Saar over the top, which they had problems with, by the way, a big time in all the matches with Saar in them. And Mateta, against Konsa, he doesn't have a problem against Konsa, playing against him plenty of times. The physicality bothers Konsa big time. He's a good technical defender, but doesn't really like to be pushed around. I noticed that a lot. A couple of times I remember the home game, he'd go down. He went down a few times for no reason at all, Konsa. Doesn't like the physical matchup. And Eze on the left side versus Matty Cash or whomever is on that side. I like that matchup. Not he driving the ball forward. Again, to me, Evans had a great season. He's got what I think was I said before. He's got 8 goals, 12 assists over the course of the entire season, and has some big moments. And there's no bigger moment than this Saturday in the FA Cup semi-final. I expect him to come up big.
Yeah, this is a these games are for moments. They're where you. I think Glasner talks about it. It's like you etch yourself into history in these moments. So
Some players can crumble though by that pressure.
Yeah, I can just listen. Even stuff like receiving the ball in your own third with your back to goal, doing it at Selhurst at home to Bournemouth is okay. But when you've got 90,000 people and there's so much on the line, it takes a different sort of courage to still play your game. So that's what I mean about it's about overcoming those hurdles first and playing your way into the game. I'll be completely happy if we just sit tight for the first 20. You've got to play your way into the game. No silly mistakes. Do the right things. Hit the right areas. It's going to be stressful, man.
Chill out, bro. Like it's not a game. You already seem stressed.
I'm stressed.
Thinking about it. Like it's fine. Like
it's not fine.
Don't worry. I don't know how you're gonna watch a game. I genuinely don't know when you're struggling to watch like.
You saw what I was like when I was at the Fulham game. My heart rate on my Apple Watch was thinking I was having a stroke.
How are you gonna watch this game? Like, what's your game plan?
I'll probably be looking at the floor the whole time.
Wembley ticket to look at the floor. Bro, I wasn't with you in the last semi-final. I don't know how you watched that one, but yeah, I
had a lot. I was a lot of liquor in my system. I don't really remember much.
Yeah, I think that might be the case as well. For this weekend as well, maybe that's how you get away with the game, and try to forget about it. But another thing about Villa, just quickly, when we talk about the front three, we have to make sure, and I'm not worried about it, but we don't bite for how they try to build out from the back because they are very annoying. Martinez,
when he holds on to it.
He holds on to it, and he done this at Selhurst as well. And he literally wants you to come for the ball. We need to make sure. I don't think we will, but maybe if we conceded like an early goal or something like that, maybe a scenario could like that happen and right. But
what Watkins worries me more than Rashford up front because I think Watkins' style. I think Lacroix did not enjoy playing against Watkins. He runs channels. He's annoying. He's technically very good. He's a great finisher. The disallowed goal they got in the first half when Watkins runs off of him and that perfect cutback for Rodgers, and then the second half he's won the header against Gahey. He's a nuisance. I think he's a top player, Watkins. I'm a big fan of his, and I would rather Rashford play number 9 than Watkins all day long.
Rashford came off the bench last time. I can't remember what he
did.
He came on late. He didn't do much at all.
Yeah,
Emery lost the plot that game. He was playing Bailey at right wing back.
Yeah.
Because they were down so much, he was desperate.
That's why I'm interested to see what he does in this game because I truly do believe Glazer's in his head, and that's not me acting cocky or anything. But even the Villa fans said it as well. He wouldn't do that. It was unlike Emery to play Bailey out wing back. Like I don't know what he was playing at. He just tried to match us up and it went horribly wrong. So I'm truly interested to see how he approaches this one. He's not going to go 3 at the back or 5 at the back. He's not a dumb manager, but it is going to be a battle. So we'll see how they're set up. Any other things before we move on to questions? I've saved questions about this game.
No, we'll do questions and we'll do like a little final.
Yeah. All right, cool. Animal saying, would you rather Forest or City in the final? Touchwood, we're there.
Stop thinking about it.
Let's move on to the next question.
I'm not thinking about it. No.
We'll talk about that one.
Can you put them up?
I'd rather.
Are they highlighted? Are they coming up?
No. I'm just reading it out from the chat. Bollocks saying, name your 5 penalty takers for Palace if you get there.
Again, I can't even do that either. I can't think about penalty kicks. I can't. I really can't.
Mateta, Eze, Wharton, I think Lacroix will probably want one.
Are you confident with those 5 you just named? I'm confident with.
Hell no.
That's what I'm saying. I can't even watch. I wouldn't even watch penalty kicks. I'm not joking. I couldn't watch that. That would put my heart rate.
If we went to penalties, I would be in the toilet.
That's mad. Like we don't have even 3 good kicks.
Now I'm interested. Before penalty kicks,
we don't even have 3 good takers, let alone 5. We just don't, because Ebbs just takes a terrible penalty. JP is good, but he's your quote unquote he's bound to miss right at some point. And then you just mentioned Lacroix. I'm sure he could. Wharton, I mean, I guess, but like You know they're practicing them, but I mean, really, if we're down to penalty kicks, man, oh my days, we are cooked, man. But now who can take a good penalty? It's Bailey Sarr. Penny scored a penalty in
He
the
scored a winner
final
for Rennes.
Yeah,
against
so he can have
Mm.
one. So I forget I just said he can take one for sure. Him and JP's we were 2-0 up already, so that's good.
I bet Mark Gay he could take a good penalty.
Do you know what?
He'd probably stick it
He
top
can.
corner.
He can. I
bet
remember
you.
took one for Swansea.
I bet you he can.
I'd
Took
rather
one under
Gay
17
than
World
Lacroix.
Cup.
I feel like Lacroix would want to take one though.
Yeah, but buddy, like, chill out. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable about that. There's just something about me. Like, I'm not.
Imagine Ty Mitchell taking a penalty kick. My God, the fifth kick.
I don't know if you
might as
manage.
well bring me on the pitch and take.
He missed the one in Newcastle. Who missed the one in Newcastle? It was so bad. Newcastle
Mateta did, I think.
Yeah, Mateta missed.
Mateta missed.
Edward?
He missed.
Edward.
No, that was horrific. That was one of Vieira.
I can imagine what Tyreek's penalty he wouldn't wrap it. He'd open it up like that mid terrible height where the keeper just goes like that.
The thing is, they're thinking about this right now.
Maybe we manage the substitutions well enough. I think Kamada could score a good penalty too.
Yeah, I would trust him to take one.
Yeah,
Yep.
look, I'll trust Glazer.
He's smart enough. He's smart enough too.
Yeah, they're 100% going to work on it. And then in terms of Dean Henderson, he's meant to be good at saving penalties, right?
Yeah, but it's
one out of two. You know, he saved one already against Tielemans this year.
Yeah.
Remember when we did 2 again, we counterattacked and Devaney scored the goal. So he's already saved one. So that's good.
Martinez is very annoying.
They won a World Cup, mate. And a Copa America because of him.
Yeah, don't. He's so good at penalty kicks.
Yeah, he could clutch up, even though he's been a bit into the city.
Wait, are you ready? I got it. You ready? Luca missed the penalty. Hughes scored a penalty. Joe Ward scored a penalty. And then Mateta missed. And then, it was Malcolm Abue was the one. It was he lost. He missed the last one.
He went to the right.
Oh, Malcolm.
What a five. That is absolutely.
What a fact. What was we cooking? What Joe Ward, Malcolm Abue, Mateta.
Joe Ward, Malcolm Abue.
What was we saying that with that penalty 5? Like, what on earth was we thinking about in that game?
It sounds like a preseason match.
You know why though? But you know why? Because he took out IU was subbed off and Olise, who would have definitely taken penalty kicks. Both of them are pretty good at penalty kicks. So that's mad though. That is a 5.5 for you as far as penalty kicks. Malcolm Boyd taking a crucial kick and then missing. I remember he was very upset. I remember he was crying after that. I remember his head was down. They were trying to console him after that game. So I remember.
I'm more surprised about
bad memories, man.
That must have been the last time. I remember we done a match reaction together, and you were just pissed off because it was the Carabao Cup, and you're like, Vieira didn't take it seriously, and you weren't happy with that. You didn't take it seriously because we had a league game against who? It was like Arsenal or something. It was something like, and it was like, why did we rotate that game?
But also, that was the year that Saudi Cup, the World Cup was in the winter time, and then we could have just taken a break then. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
I mean, it wasn't. We're not even a deep squad, man. And we're going to win a cup anyway, but just annoying.
Roll my 5 down.
Yeah, let's see. Who's your 5? What's the 5?
My 5 would be Mateta as a Hughes Kamada Sarr. So that would be my 5.
Sounds good.
But of course, you have to manage your substitutions to where those guys are all on the pitch.
Let's not talk about penalty kicks, man. That's just
I don't feel comfortable. I was in a good mood, but let's not talk about penalties because extra time penalties with Palace. Yeah,
seriously.
I'm just answering the question.
Name the only penalty kick that ever ended up well for Palace. The only one ever. Name it, because there's only one.
Sunderland.
Exactly.
Semi-final. Michael Hughes.
That's it. Every other one you want to name, we've lost.
We took some terrible penalties in that one. I remember Wayne Routledge one was terrible.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next question. There's a few questions to get through. Alex is asking a question saying, do we consider playing Sarr more on the left when we sub off Ebbs? When we sub off Ebbs, he looked wonderful yesterday in Ebbs' side.
Why are we subbing off Ebbs?
There's too many permutations for that to happen, so it's quite hard.
I don't really expect Ebbs to be subbed off. Yeah, unless he has like a horror show.
Yeah, he's subbed off. We're done.
Yeah, then that means we're struggling. It's not looking good.
If Ebbs is getting subbed off, we're 1-0 up, or we're 2-0 up, or we're 2-1 up.
3-0, please. 3-0 up. With like 5 minutes left.
And he can't run anymore.
I don't imagine him getting subbed off in this game. I think, he's going to go all the way. Adam was saying Mitchell had a good game versus Arsenal, but are you worried about how many minutes he's played in a run-up to the semi-final?
Not ideal.
Not ideal, but what can we do?
Yeah.
I mean, Chilwell's there. If he wants to bring him off the bench in the semi-final and pick up, maybe he can.
He's
but
coming off of illness too, which is tough.
And that's extra time does not suit him.
Someone needs to give him some CMOS and something.
Some Shilling.
Whatever he's taking. He needs to take whatever Munoz is taking.
100%.
Yeah, because
cocaine and coffee. We already talked about that. Cocaine and coffee.
But then again, do you reckon it brings on? Well, it depends. We spoke about
we can't speak about subs because it's all game related.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying if it reaches extra time, do you think you've
probably
like that? Because I don't know if
probably
survive 120, especially with their players. Like they can bring off a few players off the bench who's got pace, which they could target. So hopefully it doesn't go extra time.
There's no doubt if it's extra time, Mitchell doesn't play 120 minutes. Not against who they'll be running at him the entire game. They have to sub him up at some point.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, next one.
Devaney has proven that he's great utility player and impressed against Arsenal. But if we keep him next season, will that hinder his development? I don't want to talk about next season. I want to focus on this game. Just quickly on the bench from the players I spoke about in the match reaction. Devaney and Nketiah, if you want to consider it, Kamada, all positives going into this game, right? Based on their performances. It gives something for Glazer to think about, and hopefully they can carry that momentum from the Arsenal game, because when we look at our bench compared to Villa's, they've got better talent. But if these players can perform like they did against Arsenal, against the Champions League semi-finalists, especially the likes of Devaney and maybe Kamada and Nketiah, let's God forbid no injuries or nothing happens like that. But it's a bit more positive now that we've got hopefully a bit more trust, Patrick. Based on the performances.
From a sub standpoint, I'm very comfortable with Chilwell having to come on experience, Laura Murphy's on the bench, and/or Hughes, Kamada, obviously, and then Nketiah. After that, you got young players like Devaney and Francis coming on who have proven that they can, do the job. So, he usually doesn't sub 5 on. If it's any of those 4, I'm comfortable that they're going to come on and give us as much or more than the play they replace. So I'm good with that. But we're gonna use subs because that's how Glazer works. The good thing about Glazer, he doesn't do it on a set time or a set reason. He's going to do it because of tactical reasons. So, but as far as our subs, our bench will be as healthy as it's been all season. I'd love to have in there who's not around is probably I'd love to have Riyad as an option, obviously, to Corey, but it is what it is. But it's going to be difficult, man, because they're going to throw a lot of attackers at us, especially if they're losing. So it's going to be long.
Yeah, it is. Just quickly, I think that's it for the questions, because we're going a bit longer than usual. What time is that? What's going on? Yeah, I think it's Patrick. I was gonna. I think it was Lou.
I was muted. It wasn't me.
I think it was Lou. I was just gonna quickly mention before we wrap up set pieces. Both sides very good at them. We kind of scored from a second play of set piece because I asked a Villa fan. I was like, I couldn't remember, and he said that Wharton ball to Richards at Selhurst, and then he headed it. That was good. But are we expecting anything from this game in terms of set pieces? Are we worried? Are we fine with it? I think Richards being there helps us, but Villa, they can pull out the odd set piece, like maybe just runs in behind and do something different like we done against Arsenal. So I think we need to be wary of that, which I think will be, but one area of the game to look at. But are we confident with set pieces and dealing with them against Villa, who's another good side?
It's more. It's definitely more of a weapon than a worry for me.
Anyone disagree?
You've shown it to be a weapon for sure. I think they're probably more worried about us when it comes to those set pieces, being quite honest.
I think we've conceded 5 goals. They've conceded 6. So both similar sides. I mean, we can be. I don't know. I guess we balance this out, but set pieces. Let's just look out for them. I'll take another set piece goal if it works, but I don't know if our set pieces will be as effective based on how good Villa are as well. So that's another thing to look at. Patrick.
I would like to add though, the fact that apparently worked on that set piece against Arsenal the day before and it worked gives me hope that we can do the same thing again. Come up with a set piece that Villa has not seen and score another goal, because I got to give credit. I don't know who, because I watched the all angles today, and one of them has Glazer going over to the coaches and talking. I don't know which one it is. I wish I knew all they were, because they're brilliant. Whoever the set piece coach is, he's brilliant because he come up with some set pieces that I've never seen before. I don't know his name though. I can't remember his name because there's There's like 3 or 4 of them, but he's so good at coming up with set pieces. And again, come with the set piece the day before a match and have it work that's top level, man. That's just top level. So we'll see.
Yeah, it means that they're watching film of what teams are doing specifically on set pieces and then crafting something based on the weaknesses that are shown. Like that's a level of pragmatism that wins you a lot of matches.
See, you know what's funny, right? Because nobody bigs up Arsenal's set piece coach, but as I was telling Lou during the play range, 2 times before that goal, we did the same thing on a free kick and on a corner. He was standing there the whole time and they didn't see it. So the fact that they're supposed to be such good at set pieces, Arsenal, and they never saw that, one of the best players on their team was on the 18-yard box. No one's marking him. It's amazing. And then, again, for it to work, and again, the technique on that goal.
And we've done something similar to that before, and Eze scored. It wasn't off of a volley. It was off of just a direct pass to Eze.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It might have been on the floor, damn near. But
that's what I thought.
Scored off that goal.
Normally, it's got the dummy run or the one that's set, and then someone spins out. I didn't, because if we're being honest, I think it was Beckham to Scholes was the original one at Bradford away.
It is Beckham to Scholes, right? What a volley by Scholes.
That's what you used to call it in school, Beckham to Scholes. But
yep,
that I think sometimes they'll leave someone on the edge because it has to be literally the most perfectly weighted corner met with a perfect volley. So like the XG of that must be quite low of that chance.
Yeah. We just have to make sure we defend. Of course, we conceded that header early on in the game. We have to be wary that Villa also have it in their locker. Arsenal managed to do it early in the game, but we have to look out for that, which I think we'll practice anyways, which we'll be ready for. So in a way, that's a positive that we conceded that set piece goal to kind of, make us think about that and worry about the defensive side. I think going forward, we're fine. It's just defensively after that one, just be aware that Villa have got it in their locker as well to create something out of nothing. Because I think they scored. You know the goal that they scored? Was it Villa at home where they're just running behind?
It was a goal kick from
Olsen,
and then a flick on from Watkins.
I think we faced them another. Was it last?
No, we played them when we drew 2-2. It was a corner to the front post and they flicked it in. But they'd literally done the same corner just before, and it was dangerous. Look, if you look, if you go, yeah, the Ross Barkley goal. That same play had happened 5 minutes before or 2 minutes before, and then we set up exactly the same, and Barkley done the exact same thing, glancing header at the front post into the back post.
By the way, haven't mentioned him. By the way, he's available. Well, Barkley's available.
Did you see his face when they brought on Marlon instead of him? He was fuming on the bench.
Because he hadn't played since that first match. I think he hadn't played since the first match. He started.
He's a quality player, Barkley.
He really is.
The fact that you can bring him off the bench. It's just,
they don't even bring him off the bench. They normally bring him off for like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
That's what I mean. Like they're spoiled for choice. Like you can have him, and you can have players like Barkley who's coming off the bench, Marlon, and
that's what I mean. You can look at your bench. You could look at your bench, and there's so many. You're like, I've got to pick the right one.
Yeah, but you can also look at it in a different way, though. You can also look at it in a way of, there's so many. I can change the game with this player. Like they can switch it up depending on the player as well. Like they got options there. So
I understand that. There's positives and negatives because there's also, if you're a team who knows who's going to play and everyone knows their role, and this player's going to come on to do this and this player's going to, everyone knows their role. Whereas like it's a bit more of a Russian roulette with Villa. But like I said, it works both ways. They can change a game more than probably we could. Momentum.
Yeah. And to be fair, when they brought on Asensio off the bench or Marlon off the bench or even Rashford, it's always worked. Even Watkins, it really doesn't work. It really doesn't work when one of those guys who didn't start comes on, doesn't change the game, which is, again, just scary because it's because of the quality, bro.
It's because of the quality. And that's the thing, like, he can go and start Rashford up front or Watkins.
Right.
There isn't that much pressure when you know that if it doesn't work, it's fine. I can just bring on whoever didn't start. So that's the positive that he has. Like he can take that risk, unless of course we score goals and we absolutely hurt them by that decision. But it's very unlikely. Like you can always change the game with the players that they have off the bench.
Gabby Ambogno was talking on TalkSport this morning, and he said out of all the teams to play in the semi-final, he said he did not want to play against Palace. He said he thinks Palace. He thinks Palace are stylistically the worst team for Villa to play.
Perfect. Love that.
He said they're strong physically, defensively great manager, pace, and they said that Palace are their bogey team. So
he's not the only one.
Luke apparently SARS always scores against them as well. Like even when he was at Watford, he was always scoring against them.
Yeah, Villa fans are saying the same thing though. They are. Well, not every one of them, of course. I don't know every Villa fan, but there is this feeling amongst Villa of like Emery and what he done last game and what's happened so far. It seemed like Oliver Glasner's got the hand over Emery. So I don't think it's just him. Like I think Villa fans in general. And that's why we kind of was happier with this draw rather than Forest and City. Not because we're guaranteed to beat them, but because of what's happened so far. So I understand frustrations, but as Patrick mentioned at the start of the show, eventually you would think, he will figure out because he's a good manager. So we need to be wary of that. But the thing is, we're speaking about Oliver Glasner here, who will be aware of this. So that's why
it's quite awkward because it's like the onus is on them to win, but it's also they're going to be the ones finding a way to break us down more than we are them, because we've done it. We're going to play how we're going to play.
No, but we're thinking about, because it was an interesting perspective from the club perspective of Aston Villa going into this game. They would rather have the Champions League. Like, I know they haven't won a trophy in ages, but Champions League apparently bought them £80 million this season alone. Whereas
that's just talking PSR. No. Yeah, but I'm just talking about this game. They need to break us down.
Yeah, I know.
That's right. Yeah.
What I'm saying is this game, in terms of what we have, in terms of what they have, in the back of their heads, they might not think it if it's an FA Cup semi-final. I don't think they're going to think about the Champions League, but it can happen. In the back of your head, they still have an opportunity to play in Champions League. So it's not like the end of the world if they went out in the semi-final against Palace. It's not the end of the world.
No. But I don't think players think that. Players don't have that mentality. They don't think.
I'm not.
Players don't care about PSR. They're going to get paid.
It's not about PSR. It's about playing in the Champions League.
It's about winning a trophy, though, D. And a lot of the players have never won a trophy. Rashford obviously has with United, but think about their team. Watkins hasn't. You know what I mean? Watkins hasn't.
Of course, they're going to be focused on this game. But what I'm saying is, despite being focused on this game, they know that they still got something to play for if the worst happens.
On Saturday, 5:15, they don't care about that. They're going
to be focused.
There's not going to be one thought about Champions League. This is going to be like we're going to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, of course, they want to win the trophy. Who doesn't want to win the trophy? But they have got that. Just a quick super chat before we wrap up from Kiwi, who said the following.
5,000 what?
Yes, I don't think it's.
Thank you anyway. Appreciate it.
Super chat. If we make it to the final, who between? Oh well, now we have to answer.
Not me.
You lot can answer. I'm not answering it.
Who between Man City and Forest would you have to be in the final to have the chance of winning the FA Cup?
Don't do it. Say I respect you and I enjoy your super chat, but we can't quite.
No, I'm gonna answer. It's not the end of the world. It's like whatever I say. It's not like we're gonna end up losing against that team. If it happens, it happens, isn't it?
No, we've got to get there to lose to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I'd prefer Forest on paper, even though it'd be a very boring game over City. But Man City, it's the final. It's the final. Regardless of who it is, it's going to be hard. But I'd prefer, of course, Forest over Man City for us to have a better chance of winning the FA Cup, because Forest are not as good as Man City in terms of player quality wise, even though they've been very good so far this season.
Us against Forest would just be each team trying to give each other.
Yeah, it'll be boring. Even the reverse fixture, and we still got them in the league. But the reverse fixture is like 1-0 Forest, but it was not the greatest of games. It was just a Chalobah header that led to their goal. So yeah. No score predictions.
Wait, how the goalie doing that? How the goalie doing that shot against Chris Wood? Was he good on that shot?
I mean, I avoided it, but if you want to get into the goalie, would you start Matt Turner?
You started it at the beginning of the show. I think I didn't hear that you said it before the show started about it. So, no, obviously I start Henderson because I would start him. Turner can't play in the final because of no Forest to keep his cup tie. So I got to stay with the guy who got us there. So yeah.
Yeah, but all jokes aside, on Henderson, he wasn't. I mean, Ray didn't look great as well, but just soft goals. We need to avoid soft goals because that's the only.
He's saving his heroics. He's just
Well, remember though, he did have a massive save though towards the end of the game. I think it was from Saka's shot, which he saved. So it's not like he's just been. But some of the goals that we've conceded, you're thinking we've had 2 shots on target. How have we conceded it?
Mitchell done very well to get something on that. By the way, he gets a nick on that.
Yeah. Hopefully, we all have 10 out of 10s. Everyone performs, and we get to the final. But it won't be easy. But look, we're gonna wrap up there. If you have enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe. Now's the time. I'm excited.
Are you doing a score prediction?
No one's doing a score prediction.
Okay.
No,
I'll just double
you
check.
wanna do it? I'm not doing one.
I told
wanna
you
do
as
one?
well in our position preview that we're not doing score
Yeah.
prediction. I'm not going to put you in that position. I'm not going to put myself in that
chance.
position.
Yeah.
It'll be a good day out. Even though Lee wants to meet up like very early in the morning, but yeah, it'll be overall good day.
Chat. This guy is talking about having lay-ins on FA Cup semi-final day. Listen, we'll be at the Green Man,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Covent Garden.
Yeah, we'll see. If we
Stay at home then.
Yeah,
We'll watch along.
I don't need to stay at home, but I also don't need to be flipping there so early as well. There is that. But look, it should be a good day out. Hopefully we get an end result. But on Saturday, Tim and Alex will be doing a live watch along. So if you can't go to the game and want to follow it, feel free to tune into that. And also the live match reaction, Hambo will be hosting it with Tim alongside him. Depending on result, maybe you might see Patrick there as well. So we've got match day content covered. And let's see. Here it is.
If we guys take this is the last look of me.
Yeah, all jokes aside, we lose Saturday. I'll see you guys next season.
See you in
It's been
August.
real. It's been real, seriously. I'll need a mental break of at least 3-4 months. So
Yeah.
Minimum.
Let's see what happens. But here we are. Let's hope we get a win. But that's it from us. Opposition preview out tomorrow. And until next time, up the Palace.